Hi.
Hi, I'm Imi, and this is Andy, and we're going to do our yearly review. And if this is the first video that you've done without an intro, that was an active decision. It's not that I don't know your intro.
We started doing no more intros. I want different intros. So we're going to come up with a better intro and figure out what to do. But we do a yearly review every single year. And last year we sat down and we talked about our achievements.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year it just makes more sense for where we're both at. The word gratitude just clicks much more. And so we've basically written a list of all the things we're grateful for. And so it is, I guess, an achievements list, but it's more about the things that we're grateful for and the people that have helped us get there and all that sort of stuff. So this is something that I recommend all of you do once a year, at the end of the year, ideally. Go over your year, and you're essentially, if you're in the early stages of your self-improvement journey, or you're just working on your goals in those first couple of years, the point of this is to give yourself credit and show yourself that you have some courage, that you have the ability to shape your life and all of that. As you get a little further along in your journey, it's more a way of showing gratitude to all the people that have helped you. And because by that point, the further along you get in your journey, you already know that you can make changes. You've already fully shown that to yourself. If you're sort of a little more fresh and green and new to self-improvement, that is something you have to show yourself. You have to show yourself, holy crap, I can actually make some progress. So yeah, in the past we did achievements list to sort of like give ourselves more of that pride and like, look how much we've done, but it makes less sense now. It's more like a gratitude list.
Yeah, I think at that point in time we needed to feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, we wanted to prove to ourselves that we could actually shape our reality.
Especially the last couple of years when they've maybe felt like low years.
For sure. Yeah, so either do a yearly review where you give yourself credit for all your achievements, if that's what makes sense to you, or if you want to sit there and write a gratitude list of all the people that have helped you and the things that have gotten to you, through this year and to your goals and all of that, write that. But we will blast through it, and we're going to be a lot quicker, I think, than we were last year. Last year it was like a 7-hour video.
It was really long, and we went into great detail on each point that we had written down. Yeah,
but I think this year we want to kind of just blast through it. I think we wrote like 70 something, because there was a lot that we had to be grateful for this year. 76. I think we both agreed we probably could have had more. There's been a lot of people that have done amazing things for this year, but 76 seems like a decent number, so we'll kind of blast through it. And the point of this will hopefully, we obviously want to express gratitude because that feels incredible, and I'm going to be expressing gratitude to all of you, so are you. So, stay tuned for that. But the reason that we're putting this out is I think it's nice to show people like how to actually do this process themselves, like how I can work through gratitude, blah 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 blah. All right, number 1, I am very grateful that I learned how to be more consistent with my eating and my calories and my macros. So that is something I used to absolutely struggle with in the past. I would have long periods of time where I would just overeat or binge eat. I would have long periods of time where I would undereat. I was very extreme. I was sort of a yo-yo dieter. And my coach, Josh, who I'm going to talk about in a second, and I'm going to get him on my podcast. He's going to come on and do like a live stream Q&A, answering all of your questions about bodybuilding, about mental health, about coaching, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he's been absolutely instrumental. So, that's number 2 as well. I'm very grateful to Josh for making me finally believe that I'm allowed to have the body that I want, right? I'm capable of sticking to habits for long enough to actually make that work.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much, I will just make a little comment, how much you've changed on that one. Because I remember when you first started working with him, maybe almost a couple of years ago now, maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah. A year and a half, yeah.
And I remember when you first started, you were like very resistant to everything. And when you'd have talks with me saying like, I don't want to do this. Like, he's telling me to eat vegetables. I don't want to eat vegetables. Like, there was like lots of different ways in which you were resisting his advice. And it's been really great seeing you give in.
Surrender is the right word.
Trust him.
Yeah, this has definitely been a year of surrendering. And behind the scenes, I haven't talked about this a massive amount in videos. I've put a lot of time and effort into crushing my ego, or like, it's not the right way of phrasing it, but letting my ego go, or just gently saying to my ego, hey, it's okay. I don't have to have the right answer all the time. I don't have to know everything. I don't have to fight and argue. I don't have to like say what's going to work and what isn't. And part of that process has been a very like trusting, very vulnerable process of just saying, I'm going to trust the people that give me advice. I'm just going to let go and just do what they say. So that's been really nice, yeah. I am very grateful to you for helping me finish that threesome guide. So we wrote a threesome guide on how to have threesomes. You wrote half of it. You wrote an extra book to go along with it on how women who are in this sort of like very similar relationship to what we're in, you know, how they can find other women and how it can be like a great, you know, additive, positive thing for them. It's not just, oh, my man wants to sleep with another girl. How do we make that happen? It's like, no, how can we all have a good time? How can we make sure? So I'm grateful to you for that. I'm grateful for everyone who has bought it. We've sold quite a few of those for something that's very niche. Like having a threesome is very, 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 very niche. We've sold a surprising amount.
Yeah, and it was a big project for us, and it was nice to see that. So for a bit more context, you had like a live webinar?
Yeah, I did the training live for it and then recorded it as a video as well as 2 books.
Yeah, and I was there kind of in the background making sure that things were running smoothly, and it was really cool to see how many people were there for that as well.
Yeah, it was like 15 or something, 12. Spread out across 2 days. So half the people came on one day and yeah, it was cool.
Grateful.
You can read the next one.
We are both very grateful that we hit the 70K.
Yeah, we said 50K in the video, but we also showed that, you know, it was a little more than that by the time the thing was... Yeah, that was an incredible month for sure.
That was one of our big goals for the year. And it was funny. I think we spoke about it at the time, but a few weeks beforehand, we were looking at... Because we have a whiteboard with all of our goals on them. We were saying, maybe it's okay if we don't hit this one, because it just seemed a bit lofty at the time.
It seemed utterly impossible. It seemed insane.
Yeah, and I think it was amazing to see that when you kind of... Towards the end, when you're getting really close to it, you kind of put the word out a bit, and you're doing podcasts and you were like really like basically asking your audience, like, I really want to hit this goal. Like, can you help me? I'm going to offer this and this and this. And it was so amazing to see everyone support you. Certainly something to be grateful for.
Yeah, that was where this gratitude comes from. I'm grateful to everyone that signed up. I'm grateful to everyone that, like, it feels like we're at a point where I've discovered that all you really have to do to get money is just, I don't like that word, get money. All you have to do to receive money is just say, I would like some money, please. Here's what I have to offer. And what you have to offer can be absolutely anything. Like, I think I've said this to you before. I think I might record this as a video as well. I just want to walk around to people out on the street and just say, hey, if I make you smile, would you give me $5? And I just want to ask 100 people that and show how much money that you can make if you just go up to people and say, hey, I have something small to offer, or it can be something big to offer, and then you charge more if it's something bigger. But hey, I have something to offer of value. Would you give me some money for that? And we all have something to offer. Like, again, you can literally just walk up to strangers and say, if I make you smile, can you give me $1? And then you tell them a shit joke. Buy a joke book. That's $3. You can go to a library and rent it for free and just walk up to people and read out jokes. And if they like it, they'll give you $1. Ask enough people, you'll make $100 a day. Hey, now you're making a living from literally just walking around giving value to people and asking for money. So that really was eye-opening for me to realize that if we wanted 50,000 and it, like I said, it sort of became 70,000. If we wanted that, it's just ask and then say, hey, here's what I have to offer you. Is it worth it for you? And enough people will just say, sure, it is. That was genuinely like pretty amazing. It felt like a big hug from the universe. It really did. That really did. That one was never about the money. I think maybe we didn't get that across enough in the video. I think we did. I think we talked about gratitude. But yeah, for me, that was more like a, holy shit, the universe is pretty abundant. The universe is pretty nice. People are pretty nice.
Yeah, you're being supported in getting the things that you would like.
Yeah, we're all supported if we just ask. A lot of guys find the same thing when they just go outside to actually start talking to some women and saying hello. They're like, wow, women are so nice. And lots of these women actually say, hey, I'm not single, but keep this up. Go talk to other women. Do this more. This is amazing. And you go, wow, the universe wants me to have what I want if I'm willing to just sort of keep at it and take some daily steps or some baby steps every day.
Yeah.
Next one, grateful to every... Okay, so this ties into that. I am so unbelievably grateful to every coaching client who trusted me to help them. Like, the amount of vulnerability that my coaching clients show, the amount that they open up. And I did a video like 2 weeks ago where I said I was terrified to post this, or I was terrified to do this, And in that video, I talked about putting my coaching prices up, and I asked everyone to tell me what they're scared of.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people responded to that, and I had people who also emailed me, and I had people in my Discord group, in my coaching group. I had some of my current coaching clients.
Mm-hmm.
I probably had about 30 people tell me like their deepest insecurities, and not just like, oh, here's my insecurity. It's like, no, I got 30 like 10 paragraph responses of like, here's everything that's ever terrified me. I have never said this to anyone else, and I'm utterly scared to tell you, but here's what I'm terrified of. I'm so unbelievably grateful to all of my, not just coaching clients, but any of you that leave a comment or anyone that's ever emailed me. The amount that these guys, and quite a few women at this point too, the amount that you people like open up is insane. Like the amount of courage, I feel like I'm constantly being taught, like reminded, retaught the value of like courage. Over and over and over again, people are showing me their courage, and I don't think there would ever be a day that I would get sick of seeing that. I can't imagine how I would ever stop falling in love with like each and every one of you that tells me this stuff, because it's just like, man, I'm so unbelievably grateful that you all tell me this. So super grateful.
Yeah. Grateful for everyone who subscribed to your YouTube channel. I didn't know it was started at 500. I thought it was more than that.
No, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong on that. It might be 1,000. I can't fully remember. I could look at the analytics, but
the point being, it's gone up.
Yeah.
And there's been new people that have come in, and that's always amazing to know that like the audience is growing and that there's more people listening to your content. And kind of as you said before, more women now, which is cool.
Lots more women, yeah.
And I think like early on you had said to me, wouldn't it be cool if like we had a more diverse audience and that you could help some women, and that's definitely been more of the case more recently.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to talk about this in a sec, but we even had a few female coaching clients. We'll talk about that in a sec. I am grateful to you for opening up and doing the written paper lists. And you know exactly what I'm talking about here, but for anyone who doesn't, something that you and I do, and I don't think I've done a video about this, I've just told quite a few of my coaching clients. You, and I do the same thing, but you especially, write down your insecurities and your doubts and maybe some things that are bothering you and stuff from the past in our relationship that you might have held on to and not told me about. You've been writing that down on paper, and I've been doing the same with you. And you give me that piece of paper multiple times a week, or, you know, at the start we were just doing it once a week. This is something that I recommended to quite a few of my coaching clients. It's like you just write it all down. This is when you're in a relationship, you know. I wouldn't necessarily do this in like a casual relationship, but you write everything down and you share it with the other person. If you're not in a relationship, just write everything down and start working through it. Having it written down on paper means it's much more eloquent, and it's like you're getting it out of your head and you're putting it on the paper, so it doesn't like control your thoughts as much. And I've said this to you 10 million times, but here's the 10 million and 1th time. I'm so impressed by your courage. Every single time you write one of these lists, I read it and I'm like, holy shit, I fall more in love with you every time you do. So thank you for that.
Thank you for doing it with me.
Don't cry on air.
You are grateful for me helping you climb higher in the map of consciousness and being more loving.
Absolutely. So the map of consciousness that we're talking about is this, and I've brought this up on quite a few, I might have to zoom out a little bit. I've brought this up on quite a few podcast recently. Map of enlightenment, or map of consciousness, or levels of enlightenment, or levels of consciousness, or emotional hierarchy, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a nice little list to kind of like show you where some of the emotions are. Like obviously when you're down the bottom in shame and guilt and apathy, it's not very empowering. You don't really like who you are. It feels like you have no control over the world or over yourself or over anything that happens to you. You feel hopeless and lost. Then when you're all the way at the top, you know, in joy, love, reason is sort of like stoicism, like logic, you know, peace, love, enlightenment, all those kind of higher level emotions, you lose even the concept of like needing to control anyone or anything. It's just like, man, the world is abundant. I finally realized that, you know, like some of the stuff that I say, right? Like if you just walk outside and ask 100 people for money, they'll give it to you. When you're at those higher levels of enlightenment, peace, love, joy, logic, you realize that. Like you can't not see it anymore. It's like you understand the fabric of the matrix. It's like you've taken the red pill. You realize, holy shit, like whatever I want in life, I'm allowed to have if I just ask for it. if I just go for it. You know, maybe some things will require a certain sacrifice, or I might have to work on it for like 5 years or something. Like, I might have to put in some effort. It might be a little difficult at times, but like, it's there for me. I'm allowed whatever I want. It's like all of the barriers to success or to happiness, to peace, just fade away.
Yeah, and that's certainly been something you've been embracing, especially the last couple of months, on like a really intense way, I guess. Like, that's really been something you've taken on board and really embraced, that life or the universe or whatever you want to call it is here for you and supporting you.
And it's here for all of us. But when you're down in the lower levels, you'll hear me say stuff like that and you'll go, this guy is fucking mentally ill. He's retarded.
No,
like, how could the universe be here for me? The universe hates me. Life is suffering. Like, but yeah, I've talked a lot more about like how to move up in this hierarchy. Most of what my content is here to do is to try and move you up to the higher levels. So, you know, don't stress if you're down. I started down in shame and guilt. So did you. There's still many times you're still down in shame and guilt. I've said to you a million times, it gets easier. It's obviously something you're working on. I'm helping you with that. But you, back to the list, you helped me a lot with this stuff. You taught me a lot about being more loving. We've said this a million times. It comes from Byron Katie. But being in a relationship, the other person will show you what you need to be shown. The other person will test you. They won't mean to, but they'll like trigger you. They will test you. They will force you to become a better version of yourself, or you'll just be miserable and unhappy. And I knew that I never wanted to be miserable and unhappy. And so I feel like this relationship has been a great mirror to me. And I believe that it has been for you as well, in moving me up to those higher levels of like love and just patience. And every time I thought I was being patient with you over the years, you've done something to, it's not the right phrasing, but something has come up that would then just show me like, hey, motherfucker, you think that you're nice and peaceful right now? Watch this. And each one of those things that I have let go of, and that has been effort and work, and you've been letting go of a ton of these, to be clear. This isn't just me. This is, you're doing exactly the same thing. That's what you writing those paper lists where you write down everything that triggers you, everything that might annoy you, and every one of those that we work through and let go, it's like a little bit more freedom, a little bit more peace. And yeah, you do eventually climb that map of consciousness and you get up pretty high. Like I'm pretty high right now, and it's a really nice place to be. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the guy that made this list, by the way. His name is David Hawkins. You can read his books. Letting Go is a really good book. The Map of Consciousness talks about it a bit more, but probably just start with letting go. But I'll be doing plenty more content on this, so don't stress. Like, we'll talk about that more. Right, you can read the next one.
You are grateful for all of your coaching clients and people
Wait, I'm autistic. Let me fix the spelling error. There we go.
And people on your YouTube, on your forums, and for all of them being so courageous, teaching you about strength, perseverance, and moving out of the lower emotional states, which we just talked about before, and going for something great.
Yeah. So we already kind of said that.
Yeah.
I said before that everyone's taught both of us really courage. Because how many of my coaching clients do I tell you something about and you're like, oh my God, like...
They do amazing things.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing to hear about that, and hearing you speak about them is incredible, because obviously you're so passionate about your clients, and not even just your clients, but as you've said here, like, yeah. And it's lovely seeing how much you get from their successes and what they're achieving, and that in turn then gives to me as I get to see how much that lights you up.
It really does, yeah. It genuinely does, yeah. That was kind of my mission for this year as well. We had a break, remember? I had a little break where for about 3 months where I didn't answer any YouTube comments because I was just stressed and overwhelmed. And this is way earlier in the year. And then I came back. You know, I just wanted to come back. I was like, I just miss the audience. I miss people. I miss, you know, all of you guys. And reconnecting was really, really, really nice. Like, it really was. And I think since then I've gone like, I don't ever want to disconnect again. I stopped going on the forums as well. I can't always go on my forums just because I am kind of, I don't have a whole lot of free time for doing, you have the time, you just don't have the emotional energy to go to like 100 different people. So I try and go on my forums, but yeah, for a while there I wasn't going on my forums at all. I wasn't answering any YouTube comments. It's been nice to reconnect. It's been really nice. I am grateful for the concept of letting go. So letting go, that concept comes from the book Letting Go by David Hawkins, who is the guy who made, you know, this map here that we're talking about. And also letting go of stories and limiting beliefs. It also comes from Byron Katie. Her books Loving What Is and I Need Your Love, Is That True? And like 5 other books that she's written that are all amazing. And the whole concept of all of this is like letting go of some of those limiting beliefs and just not holding so damn tightly onto them. And when you actually start investigating a lot of your limiting beliefs and your negative beliefs and your stories, as Byron Katie calls them, she calls them stories. When you check, and she has a beautiful system for checking, you will be believing some story, or you'll be saying something like, short guys can't get laid. And then Byron Katie's first question is that true? And you'll go, yes, it is true. And then the next question is, can you absolutely know that's true? And most of the time, if you actually look inside yourself, and you're supposed to pause, you're not supposed to just answer immediately.
Yeah.
You pause for a little bit, you look inside, you're like, well, look, I can't know that's true, but I think it's true, but I can't know it. So the answer is no, you can't absolutely know that's true. And then there's other steps in there, and I've talked about these in previous videos, so we won't cover it here. But yeah, it's a process of slowly just unraveling or investigating your limiting beliefs and letting some of them go. And it's very freeing.
And a bit of a spoiler, the answer is almost always no.
The answer is, I am convinced at this point that there is no story that is true, that I can absolutely know is true, even what I just said.
Correct. And I think when you're actually doing, like if you're doing this process, you can't just like immediately, as you said, like you need to pause, but you do need to investigate, like, can you really know it's true?
Yeah, can you absolutely 100% know it's true? No doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, because if you're not willing to really investigate, you'll just say, yes, it is true. I can really
yes,
know.
true.
And then
yes, it's true.
This process doesn't actually achieve anything if you're just like, no, it's true. Fuck off.
Yeah, you have to be open to this process. And it can be quite scary for the ego, because the ego wants to be correct. Your ego wants to say, no, I know that short guys can't get laid. I know that. And it's like you'll argue with the, I don't call myself the expert, but how many, and we're using this example, how many short guys at this point have I had on my channel with actual coaching testimonials showing like, hey, look at me. I was a virgin at 31 and I'm 5'4" and look at everything I've done now. Look at all the women I've been. This is amazing. Like, you will argue with that irrefutable evidence. Okay, fine. You could say I'm a liar. You could say I just paid these people. Like, do you get what I mean? You have to go to absurd lengths to argue with evidence that's in front of you because your ego just wants to win. And so it can be quite scary to let go of some of this stuff, to start letting go of some of these limiting beliefs, because it means, fuck, if that wasn't true and I was so convinced that that was true, but if it turns out that wasn't true, what else isn't true? And that can be very scary. That's very scary at the start, because it's like, shit, is everything I've done up until this point a lie? And it's like, yeah, it might be. If you've been sitting there just believing that you have to be a good boy or a good girl and not go for your goals and just do what society tells you, and society won't sit there and tell you that, but you believe that society is telling you that. And so you don't ever go for your goals, to find out that you didn't actually have to just sit there and be complacent. You were allowed to build a business, or you were allowed to lose weight, or it turns out women would have actually liked you if you just actually went up to them and said, hi, I like you. Would you like to go out with me?
Yeah, that's confronting.
It's scary. It's terrifying. It's everything you thought you knew maybe isn't true.
Yeah, and reflexively it makes sense that you want to stay in the place where at least you're correct. Because that's
a lot of people would rather
that's not scary. That's the knowable.
They'd rather be right than happy, yeah. And so, like, unraveling this process can be a little scary. And it was terrifying for me. Like, I haven't talked a ton about this, and I'll talk about it much more in upcoming videos. I've already recorded one, actually. It's just not released yet. It'll be out in the next couple of days. About this sort of, like, I called it a spiritual journey, but it's more like a process of letting go, or it's a process of, like, self-improvement, like the end stages. Not that I'm finished with my self-improvement, please don't take it like that, but like the higher levels of self-improvement, where you get to a point where you're like, what's left to do? Fuck, maybe there's nothing left to do. Maybe it's my goddamn ego that tells me, oh, I need more money, I need a better body, I need this, I need to do that, I need to do this. What if I just don't do any of that shit? What if I let all that go? And that's terrifying, because you think that you'll just become depressed. I was depressed in the past because I did nothing. And through this process of letting go, I've realized, shit, there's nothing I need to do anymore. There never actually was anything I needed to do. I just convinced myself there was. And if some of what we're saying is like high-level concepts that you're thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, fine, I understand. But as I've realized there's nothing that I actually have to do, there's nothing I need to do, you think that that will be like a total destruction of who you are. And you think like, God, what would I be left with then? I would just be sitting there depressed and suicidal. It's like, no, you'll be sitting there free with nothing you have to do and only one question left, which is, what do I want to do? And that is so freeing. And what you find is what you want is the goals you were already working on, most of them. I want an amazing body. I would love more money.
Yeah,
because out of love.
And in this case, you can work towards those things, as you said, out of love. It doesn't have to be this fear, like I have to do this, and oh my God, something bad's going to happen if I don't pursue this. It's like, no, this is an amazing thing that I get to go after and enjoy doing, and isn't it such a gift?
And I can be grateful for it, and I can make the most of it, and my mind is much clearer because I'm not doing it out of fear and anxiety and stress and what will happen if I don't? I'll be depressed if I don't do this. No, you're just doing it because it's fun, because you like it. And again, all of this is, it might be a high level concept. Some of you right now will be sitting there going like, man, I just want to make a lot of money and have a lot of sex. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff you're talking about. I was exactly the same. And maybe that's a necessary journey for a lot of people. So if a lot of this just sounds like hippie woo-woo stuff, that's perfectly fine. Like, don't stress about it.
Next one. We are grateful that we've moved in the direction of dating women rather than just getting laid.
Yeah.
So especially with all of the girls that we're seeing at the moment.
All of the girls? You mean the girl?
Sure, but it's a direction we've moved in for the entirety of this year. And it's something that we started doing more and more. And that's absolutely the case with the girl that we're seeing at the moment, who we had on the podcast recently. Actually enjoying just spending time with them.
Yeah, and taking off, because in the past I think because we needed to, because we weren't certain of who we are and how we wanted to do things and that, and so we kept it very sexual and casual. And I think we needed that because we didn't have that helped us have healthy boundaries at the start. One of your concerns was, what if you fall in love with the girls? And fair enough, like you and I hadn't been together for all that long, but at this point we've been together for 5 years and we're both so unbelievably comfortable in each other's love and how much we have to give. And I think you're very comfortable, because I talk about it a lot when I talk about my coaching clients, that I'm in a position where I just give a lot of love and not in you know exactly what I mean by that. And I think you're comfortable now with me giving that love to other women. You know exactly what I mean by that. Some people might listen to that and be like, what are you talking about? Like, you're falling in love with other women? No. We're talking about like love, like giving value, or just being comfortable. Being comfortable in emotions, being comfortable in feelings, being comfortable in any of that stuff. Just being quite comfortable in yourself and not worrying that you'll lose yourself, or like, what will that mean for Imi and I? Or like, what if Andy gets feelings? It's like, why would I get... It's such a weird question. Like, why would I get feelings? But
you have feelings already.
Yeah, you already have feelings. You already like the person. What do you mean getting feelings? Like, you're just gonna like them more. You're just gonna have more love to give them. Like, yeah, it's a place you have to get to, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that you're somebody that has love to give. It's not just if we're... It's not just if we're seeing a girl. It's the waitress at the cafe, and
I love everybody.
The kid that we walk past, and the dog that you get to pat, and
that homeless lady who had all the grace in the universe. I think she might have been the most enlightened. We got to talk about her in a second. I think she might have been the most enlightened human being on the entire fucking planet. Yeah.
You have love to give all of those people, and your friends, and your family, and me, and any girls that we might see. That's definitely been a big evolution the last, and not even year, I would say the last couple of months.
The last like 3 months, 6
has
months.
Changed a lot. And we are both really enjoying, especially with the girl that we're seeing at the moment, just really enjoying spending time with her.
Yeah, I guess another way of saying this is there's no expectations now. There were in the past. There were more boundaries. And boundaries are, if you feel like you need boundaries, great, do that. Like, none of this is us saying not to. It's just more the stage that we're at now, where it feels like we both trust a lot of things. We trust each other. We trust any women that we might date. We trust that everything will be fine. We trust the universe. We trust that nothing bad would ever happen. What bad thing could ever happen? Whereas at the start, it's like a fear of the unknown. And that's why we had stronger boundaries at the start, because it's like, what if Andy falls in love with her? I even had thoughts of like, well, what if they both like each other and they don't like me anymore? And like all that kind of fear. And it's a process of going in and dismantling each one of those things and literally saying, okay, what would happen if that happened? what would we do? Like literally talking through it or doing it by yourself and saying, okay, if the worst case scenario happens, what would I do? And an exercise that really helps is you can say 3 ways that it would actually be a good thing if that happened. Like 3 ways your life would be better if I fell in love with some girl that we dated and I broke up with you. And it's like, that can be quite scary to do that exercise. It's terrifying. This is what we're talking about when we say letting go. It's scary for the ego to let go of control. Because you're basically saying, well, if I even investigate that thought, what if he then does break up with me? And I have to do the same thing. What if she then does break up with me? It's like, well, I'll be just fine. You're basically trying to show yourself that everything is okay and your ego doesn't need to control everything all the time and make sure everyone does everything you want them to. And because that hurts. It's not free. And yeah.
I was going to say, often you'll find that even in the worst possible scenario that your brain can comprehend, it's really not that bad once you get down to the core of like what would actually happen, what that would mean.
We'd break up, we'd both grieve for 3 months, I don't know. You'd still be living your life while you're doing that. You'd still be doing everything you're doing right now. It would be an adjustment, sure. You'd have to move into different apartments. You know, you probably wouldn't jump back into love anytime soon because it's like, whoa, hey, let me sort out what just happened there. You know, you would work on yourself like crazy. I would work on myself like crazy. And after, I don't know, 6 months, a year, maybe you'd start dating again. And hey, who knows? You probably find love again one day. Or you don't, and you have an amazing life because you focus on self-improvement. It's like, that's the worst thing that happens. But the brain will go into, or the ego, the brain, whatever, will go into all these like fear of the unknowns and, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. And that's why I always say, shine a light on your fears. Like run towards your fears, investigate them, check them out. As Byron Katie says, like question them, investigate them. And what you find is when you actually take a look, like you said, they're almost never as scary as you thought. It's like that Byron Katie quote, reality is always kinder than our thoughts about it. And the Epictetus quote, the Stoic quote, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. So fear of the unknown is always worse than anything that would actually ever happen. You want to do this one?
You are, and I guess we both are, grateful for the spiritual and enlightenment journey that we've been on, and that your entire life philosophy has evolved over the last year, and that you've become a lot more open-minded. And I guess that's what we were discussing before, is that you really seem to have evolved. And I'm sure, like, if you have audience members that have been following you for a year or longer, they'll be able to see that evolution in your content and your philosophies and the information that you're putting out there. I think you even told me that you had a client of yours say that recently.
Yeah, like 2 days.
That it's cool to see and he's somebody who you've discussed the map of consciousness with, and he actually pointed out that he can see your evolution as you've progressed up that over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I talked about this in a video that's going to come out in the next couple of days. I can give how other people can climb up this, but when I look back at my journey and like everything I've done, I'm just filled with such an immense amount of gratitude for all the millions of people that helped me and all the people that got me there. So I think more than anything, as you climb higher, you realize like, shit, this, like, at the start, to get up to courage and stuff, it's all you. Below that, like, you're definitely putting in all the effort. You have to push yourself. You have to go like crazy. You have to use your ego. You have to use every tool under the sun. But once you can get to courage, which is really just like taking action, which is why a lot of my content is just pushing you guys to take action. Once you get to pushing action, the rest kind of starts taking care of itself. You have doubts, you have insecurities. You do have to push yourself to make sure you keep working. But after a while, that kind of, the process just takes care of itself. And it's like, oh shit, this plane is flying itself. I'm not doing anything anymore. And so you just get to a point, the higher you go, where you're like, holy shit, why am I being given all this stuff? In fact, and the higher you go, I don't even care why I'm being given all this stuff. Like, I just want to share as much of this shit as I can. So yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. I am grateful for, and I did a video on this, it's just not out yet, it'll be out in the next day or two, a Christian pastor. And in the video, what joke do you think I made about that? Can you imagine what joke Daddy would have made about that?
Do you make some joke about pastors and the carbohydrate pasta?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 times in that video.
Your jokes are predictable.
My jokes are amazing.
And I love that.
The universe is predictable.
That's true.
No, it's not. So I'm grateful. Actually, it is. The universe will always be nice to you if you fucking pay attention.
Of course.
I'm grateful for the Christian pastor, not the food, but the priest, and another Christian guy who both emailed me. It was on the same day, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was on the same day.
Yeah, it was very close to one another.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that my advice had helped them in their sex lives with their marriages. That was so humbling and amazing and like brilliant timing. And again, I've done a video on this where I talk way more about that, so I won't spoil it too much. But I had been reading stuff I'd been reading Mother Teresa's book. And to have like two Christian dudes on the same day be like, hey, your content very much lines up with the Christian, my view of the Christian gospel. So like, you're talking about honesty and love and strength and joy and all of that. So, thanks, man. It's helped. It was really weird because it's like, I've just been reading all of this shit in Mother Teresa's book, and everything she's saying resonates with me on a self-improvement level. She's talking about like giving love, which to me is like giving value, leaving people better than you found them. She's talking about like, just get in there and grind every day and like, don't quit. She talks about when she started all of her, helping the poor and all of her charities and stuff. She had no idea what the hell she was going to do, and she just literally gave herself permission to suck and was like, I don't have to know what to do. God's going to fucking take care of it. And that philosophy just like rung true with me. I was like, holy crap, this woman understood, like, give yourself permission to suck. So yeah, it was amazing to have like, if you want to call that a sign from God, like, hey, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Christian pastors who, regardless of if you believe in God or not, they're still my friend who maybe, actually, I think he's getting more and more spiritual in terms of this, but he has a saying where he calls it a simulation wink. Like the simulation is winking at you. Other people will call that like a sign from God. He's like, no, the simulation, we're all in a simulation. The simulation's paying attention. It's giving you a little wink. Here you go. I'm paying attention, son. This is just for you. So I don't see how that's any different to God, regardless of your views, if you believe in God or a simulation. Or
It's some higher power, something above us, greater than us.
Yeah. I personally think we're all in a simulation. And I think Elon Musk is running it.
I don't think Elon Musk is running it.
I think Elon Musk
I'm not
is running
opposed to the idea that we're in a simulation, but I don't think Elon Musk is running it.
I think Elon Musk. But yeah. Next one. If Elon Musk isn't running the simulation, then how come he now owns Twitter? Checkmate, atheists.
Because he wants to own Twitter and he's got a lot of money.
Yeah,
so
and why is he the richest man on the planet? But now he's only the second richest because he spent it all on Twitter. But if he's not God, then see, checkmate, atheist.
I think if he was God, he would have given himself a more successful love life. Although maybe he's done that to humanize himself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's you. Read.
I'm grateful, or Andy is grateful, that you learned financial abundance, and that if you literally just ask your audience for money, they will give it to you. And that is a gift, and that you've realized that the entire world wants to give people money. And that you just need to ask.
Yeah. And a lot of people will hear that and go, well, that's easy for you to say. You have an audience and you did all of that. Go outside today, ask 10 people, can I please have $1? Go outside, do that today. You might have to ask 20. I don't know how many people you have to ask, but go ask 20 people, can I please have some money?
People will give you money.
People will give you money. Oh, wow. It turns out Andy's correct. And my ego likes to just argue. And that's okay. My ego likes to argue too. So that's perfectly okay. But yeah, there is abundance out there. Just because you don't recognize it or you're not paying attention to it or you don't see it doesn't invalidate that statement. Go out there and prove me wrong. Go out there and ask 100 people, can I please have $1? And if you don't get a single dollar, then you were correct. Okay. I am grateful. Now someone's going to come back and be like, I asked 101 people for money and all of them told me to go fuck myself. Which I don't believe that would ever happen. I don't believe that would
happen. But if you go into that wanting the world to
okay, no, ready? Here, watch this. If that happens, I will send you $1 to prove you wrong. And not just to prove you wrong, because I don't want you to walk around and ask 100 people for money and then feel, holy shit, the universe doesn't love me. So I will literally, to show you that the universe loves you, I will send you, fuck it, man, I'll send you $5. Okay, so there you go. So, like, homeless people will sit there with a sign and a cardboard thing with fucking texter on it saying, I'm homeless, and people will give them money for nothing, for them just existing, because you don't want to walk past, or enough people don't want to walk past someone who might be down on their luck and say, hey, I want this person to suffer. No, a lot of people go, I don't want them to suffer. I want them to freaking smile. So here's some money. So there is money all around you. People want to give it to you. You just haven't been asking, or you've likely been allergic to money And I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. But you've likely been turning down opportunities where people want to give you money. You go, no, it's okay. No, I don't like charity. I don't like no, it's okay. Like people want to give you money and buy you stuff. And if nobody in your entire life has given you money, I will give you money. Leave a comment. I will PayPal you $5 to prove to you that someone wants you to have money in the world. I am grateful that I have been opening up my content to more than just getting laid. I've been talking about relationships, spirituality, that is something I'll be talking a lot more about, mental health, financial freedom, little bits and pieces of fitness. I'll be getting my coach on here, like I said. I think especially relationships. We've really opened up about that. We did like 15 or 20 videos about that. And that's been cool. Because do you remember for the longest time, like up until about a year ago, it was really the start of this year, I said, maybe I should start a spin-off YouTube channel. Maybe I should talk about stuff other than I don't know if I want to talk about just getting laid for the rest of my life. It doesn't seem like, everything I care about. Getting laid is great, and it was a beautiful chapter of my life, and I want other people to want that if that's what they want. Not that I think everybody needs to get laid a lot, but if that's what they want, then I was sort of worried or unsure how to start moving in that direction. So it's been really cool that we've really opened up with relationships. And actually, now that I think about it, on my Spotify podcast, I think I've done about like 20 more podcasts. So there's like 20 on my YouTube channel and like 20 on the Spotify.
Yeah.
The Spotify, by the way, if you guys aren't following my podcast on Spotify,
it's different to YouTube.
It's way different to this kind of content. I talk a lot more about relationships and mental health and like peace. It's a much more chill, laid back. We're pretty chill and laid back on this, but yeah, it's about more of that kind of content.
Yeah, and it was even on one of the whiteboard goals that we talked about. Content about relationships was on there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that was scary. I was terrified to start talking about relationships. Remember? I was really scared.
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
I feel like you should read this one.
Okay, I'll read this one. I am so goddamn grateful, and it only happened in the last 2 weeks. I can't promise I've let go of all of it, but I did a lot of letting go, a lot of like questioning, a lot of investigating, a lot of like asking myself some deep questions. And I feel like I have let go of a lot of my hatred towards the government, and even I've even been giving up some of my anger around being a libertarian. I was always an angry libertarian rather than a loving libertarian. I think a lot of libertarians are the angry type, where they're like, the government's stealing my money, like, fuck the government, fuck taxes, like, you got to defund the police, like, all that kind of stuff. And it comes from a very angry place. And there are a lot of libertarians who are very, like, loving. And we call those usually spiritual types or hippies or, like, people like that. And I've been I've wanted to move more in that direction of, like, the loving libertarian who just goes like, oh man, like I want everyone to do what they want to do. That's beautiful. And even if you want to tax me, hey man, that's beautiful. Like you tax me if you want to. I understand that you feel like that's what you have to do. And I've done a lot of investigating, and I can't promise that I've let go of all of it, but I feel at this moment in time that I don't have any tension around money and the government taking as much as they want. And I've sort of hit this point where I'm like, you know what, if the government wants my money, they can have my money. Like, it's not really mine anyway. Like, I didn't earn it. Where did it come from? I just said to people, hey, I think I can help you with your depression, or I think I can help you get laid. And they said, hey, have an absurd amount of money. How's that my money? Like, even if you say, oh, but Andy, like, you're coaching people. Yeah, but like, I didn't come up with all those ideas. They came up with people that have taught me things, other bloggers I've read, like videos I've watched, books I've read, random epiphanies that just come to you. You don't have those epiphanies. You don't sit there and go, hey, let me think of a really cool idea that will be a great blog article. It just kind of comes to you. Like, they were just in my head. So were they even sort of mine? And as I've been investigating this more and more, and I've been like really grateful for all the people that you included, obviously, but all the people that have helped me get to where I am right now, I've just realized, like, this isn't my money. It's just like flowing in and flowing out. Like, it's not mine to keep. And when I think, hey, the government, here's the main question I came to. It's like, how do I feel when I think the government shouldn't take half of my money? How does that feel? It hurts.
It feels really bad.
It feels awful.
Yeah.
It feels like I want to fight. It feels like I want to break the law. It feels like I want to not give money to homeless people because I'm like, well, fuck homeless people. They get half my money anyway. Like, I feel disconnected from like random people that I just think, like anyone on welfare, I'm just like, oh, right, I hate you now because and they didn't do anything. They're just fucking existing. I hate everyone in the government when I believe that thought. And it's like half of them are literally there to do better, like to try and make the world a better place. They believe that's the way that they should do that. I even did a lot of digging on a lot of investigating on the premier of the state, like the state governor essentially.
That we left.
Of the state we left. And I was really just like replaying in my mind all of the press conferences and stuff that he was doing, and even when he was doing, lockdowns and very like intense laws and legislations and stuff, that at the time I just thought this guy is Hitler. Literally, I thought this guy is Hitler. As I investigate that now, or in the last couple of weeks, I look at all of that and I'm like, that guy was just a scared little boy. Like, he was such a scared little boy. And I think you would recognize that as well. When he was standing there in those press conferences, he didn't look comfortable. He looked like he was shitting his pants. Like, he's like a little boy who was way over his head, and millions of people looking to him going, hey, you have to set this right. You got to make sure no one dies. And him just obsessing about the number of cases every day and like getting them all conflated and worked up and not understanding the difference between cause and, causation, like cause and effect. And that's not the right thing that I meant to say.
I know,
but like,
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean.
I do.
Correlation and causation.
That's it.
Getting those two things mixed up. Like all of that. He's just a little boy that's scared, and a lot of people are asking him like, hey, or demanding of him, we'll have your head if you don't handle this correctly. And I can't say under those circumstances that I would have done a better job. I would know enough to not be in that position, but he didn't know enough to not be in that position. He thought that he was doing his best, and he was like, I'm going to step up to the plate and handle this pandemic. And it's like, that's a fucking terrifying prospect. And so as I've investigated a lot of this stuff, I've let go of it. It feels like all of it, but there might be some more there left. But I know the process now. I can keep investigating and keep letting go of. It feels like if the government wants to take 90% of my money, then take it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to stay in this country forever. I don't think we will. That doesn't mean that I will keep giving up 50% of my income. I don't think we will. But I'm going to do that with love. I'm going to do that because if I get to keep another 20% of my income, holy shit, I can give more money to homeless people. I can give money to some of you guys who maybe want to start a business. I could give out business, like it wouldn't be a loan. I would just give you the money. Like, you tell me your great business idea, and once a month I'll give away $5,000 or something. Or I can give money to Cam. Radical Improvements, Cam, the coach in my program alongside me. I could give him more money to pay him so it's more worth it for him because he does a lot for my coaching clients. I could give money to my coaching clients. Like old coaching clients, for instance, who write articles or something. They're like, hey, I'll write an article for your website. I'd be like, cool, man, here's $150. That's a great article. Thank you. Like, I could do more with that money. So I would be keeping it, or I would be using it, because you're not really keeping it. That's the point. I want it to flow out. I want to give it away. But yeah, when I hold on to money because I'm trying to stop the government from having it, regardless of whether or not I think the government will do a great job with it, that's almost an irrelevant question. We're not talking about the government here. And I think a lot of libertarians get so obsessed with the government that they forget to ask themselves, how do I feel when I hate the government? Oh shit, I feel bad.
Really bad.
Yeah. So would it be okay if I just let go of that hate? Well, no, because then I'd be letting the government win. It's like, I'm sorry, the government has all the guns. They're going to win. Have more guns than you. Here in Australia, we have no guns.
Sure.
So it's like they will take your money regardless, or you'll end up in prison. That's your choice. Or you can leave the country. That's another choice. And we might be leaving the country at some point. But for now, it's like, I would like to just say, hey, take all the money you feel like you need. And that can kind of be this like loving kind act. And then whatever's left, hey, great, I'll give that to some homeless people. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to myself. I'll upgrade this podcast. I'll give it to Cam. I'll give it to anyone who might ask. If some person comes up to me and says, hey, can I please have money? I'm like, yeah, hey, here you go. And I'm free to give that up because I'm not holding on to it. And then funnily enough, when you're free of your control around money, it flows to you like crazy. Because someone will say, hey, can I give you money? And you're like, hey, great, thank you so much. Yeah. You don't fight it. You don't feel guilty.
There's none of those reservations about receiving money.
Yep.
You're like, you expect it to come to you, and then you're far more willing to receive it.
Yep. Yep, I used to turn down a lot of money. How many discounts did I give to people out of guilt? Because I was like, no, I'm...
People that didn't even ask for discounts.
I would just give them a discount because I'd feel guilty.
You felt some weird discomfort around asking for the amount of money that you wanted to ask for.
Yep, because deep down I had these control issues around money, and so I wasn't comfortable with money coming to me. Now I am, because it's like, it's not even coming to me. When someone gives me money now, I'm like, okay, some of that's going to pay off our debts. A little bit of that's going to go to our landlord. That's cool. They get some money so they can live. A little bit of that will go to this homeless dude. Some of this will go over here. Oh, I'll buy some nice food with that. Like, I'm thinking where it's going. I'm not thinking like, fuck, how do I control that? And so funnily enough, when someone goes, and this happens a lot now, someone will go, hey, let me pay you extra. That's happening fucking lots. And because they do that, I'm like, oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you so much. That's actually going to go and, I'm going to give that to my friend Cam as a coach in my group. Cool, thank you. Like, you're paying Cam with that. Like, you just accept it because you're like, cool, I know where that's going. So, yeah, funnily enough, if you want actual abundance around money, let go of your need to have so much fucking money and control it all the time. Same with women, same with dating. If you want women in your life, or if you want options in your life, stop trying to be perfect with every single one and just go, even if I fuck it up and she doesn't like me, that's fine. I just go talk to one of the infinite other women out there. Ironically, that makes women want to stick around. It's not ironic, but it seems like that at the start. And we can maybe cut this video out soon-ish because I don't think we're going to get through all 70 of these in one fucking video, are we?
Before we recorded this, you had said to let's just bang through it. We'll do all of it in one video. We don't want to make it too long.
Yeah, but you know me. I always say this is going to be short, and then 1 hour later.
I know. Right, or I'm going to stop here, and then half an hour later into the... Yeah.
That's just me. That's what you people sign up for when you come to watch one of my videos. Do you know how many people have told me, coaching clients too, that they'll say, Andy, you said, hey, the video's going to end. And then I looked at the timestamp at the clock, and there was still 25 minutes to go. And I was like, yep, here we go. It's Andy again. So I do this in coaching calls too. All right, let's read out a couple more. Maybe we'll get to 20, and then we'll cut it out. So.
Cool. You're grateful that you got to work with your first female client. It was one of your best coaching calls ever, and you got a hell of a lot out of it.
Yeah, I remember the video on it.
Yeah, for the longest time you talked to me about wouldn't it be cool if you got to be able to coach women?
And then it just happened.
Years you talked about that, And it was really cool. And she's going to do another call soon, I believe.
Yeah, she's already booked it in. Yeah, for sure. And a big part of that was just opening my content up. Because in the past I was talking mostly to men.
Of course, it wouldn't have been relevant to women.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of what I talk about, I do say guys, but at this point I talk to people. If it's relevant to men, I will talk specifically to men.
Yeah, of course.
Like about getting laid and stuff like that. So I still do plenty of men content, but a lot of it is just applicable to everybody. I'm grateful I got to work with my first couple as well. You and I are coaching them together, so they both sit down on the calls, and you and I sit down on the calls. That's been a lot of fun. They're such a lovely couple. Yeah. They're just genuinely lovely little human beings. I love them to be. I will, we talked about this before, having love to give. I will just be sitting there watching them, and I'll be falling in love with both of them. I'll just be and not in a romantic way. You'll understand what I mean. I'm sure you've had moments where you just love the moment. You're just in bliss. If you want to call it bliss or happiness, or just you're happy for them. But I'll just be staring at them, and I'll be like, these two are fucking beautiful. Actually, I tell you what, there is a movie that is related to this. I'm going to pause the recording and I'll see if I can find it. Okay, I found it. So this movie is called The Lives of Others, and it's about in East Berlin in 1984. There was a guy in the secret police who was basically it's not a true story, but it might have been a true story. He was wiretapping people, and he's listening in on this couple, and his mission is to basically expose them and get them to go to jail. But the whole point is he gets almost Stockholm syndrome. Then the couple aren't doing anything wrong, but he falls in love with both of them, and not in a romantic way, but just listening to them and realize hearing the intimate details of their life and stuff. He's just I don't want these two to go to jail. And so I won't ruin the movie. It's a really good movie. It's in the top 250 movies on IMDb. It's number 58 of all time. It's a really good movie. But yeah, that's basically what I'm talking about here.
Maybe something that might resonate better with people is caring for, deeply caring for other people. Because I think sometimes people have a lot of ideas tied up with the word love, but it's to deeply care for other people or things or beings. That's
a good point. But I'm going to keep using the word love forever, and people will understand. Byron Katie uses the word love all the time, and I really like that. So does David Hawkins. They both, though, do specifically say, sometimes don't say the word love to people because they will think that you're trying to manipulate them, or they'll think you mean romantic, or they'll think you're crazy. Like, and then what you're trying to do they won't listen to you. So
The most loving thing you could do for those people is to help
just
them
say,
be comfortable.
yeah, to just say, I care about you, rather than like, I love you. Yeah. You do that one? Oh, and then before that, there was also another couple. Yeah. So I did a coaching call with another couple before that. That was like 6 months ago.
Call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've done 2 couples now, which is great. It's really fun. It's very humbling too. There's something, I think that's part of why it's been such an amazing experience. Having 2 people sit in front of you who are in a relationship, and this couple have been in a relationship for like 10 years. Having both of them sit in front of you and say, okay, we're going to tell you the personal details of our fucking relationship.
It's very intimate.
It's so unbelievably humbling too. It's like, wow, these people are giving me something really special. Like, I really want to give them something back. Like, I want their time with me to be worth it. Like, it's a really humbling experience. It really is nice. I can't think of any other times, even when you talk to friends who are in a relationship, it's not couples counseling.
Yeah, you don't open up in the same way and share all of the very personal details of it all.
You don't literally cry. You were there for that one. Like, you don't cry in front of them. Like, it's such a humbling experience. It really is humbling.
You were grateful for the people, like the clients who have trusted you to coach them on starting a business.
Yeah. I've had some coaching clients who have just said, hey, I want to start a business. I'm like, sweet, let's do great. And then they go, okay, here's the money, coach me. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what business are we doing? And they go, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, like, what do you want to do? What are you into? What excites you? And working through that, I've worked through like 3 guys now who've just literally come to me and said, I want to start a business. I have no idea what I want to do. No idea.
I think what's so amazing is seeing that people just trust you.
Yeah, this is so unbelievably humbling because they're basically just like, here is my fucking life savings. Please, like, help me. And I have no idea if you're going to help me. And remember that I didn't have any proof that I could help people in business.
There's this sense that I know you and your philosophies, and I just trust you that what I bring to you, you will help me with that. That was even the case. Yeah, and I won't betray it. As we were talking before, the first female client that you had, that was kind of the case as well. I was like, I don't even necessarily know if you don't have some sort of testimonial. It's like, I can help women with
depression,
their mental health, but I trust you. I think you're pretty good, and that you can give some value in this regard just because you're a human that is giving so much value.
Very humbling.
I think that's really cool to see.
Crazy humbling, like to the point where I could just sit there and cry sometimes when I think about that. It's like, it's such a unbelievably humbling thing, and it's such a fun process too. One of the guys in particular, so the first step, so by the way, if any of you are listening and you can't afford coaching but you're sitting there going, I want to start a business, here's the very basic structure of what I tell people. It's write a list of like 50 things that you're either good at, or you have some knowledge in, or you have made a ton of mistakes in, so you know what doesn't work, or you care about and would like to get good at, or just some things you've learned along the way. Just write a list of like 50 different things. They can be industries you're good at, or they can just be skills, or they can be topics. A lot of the time people write cool stuff. Like, one of my clients right now, he said, I'm really into board games, like tabletop board games. And I was like, cool, do a YouTube channel on that if that's what you really care about. And so he started that process. But one of my coaching clients, when I first got him to write that list, he wrote the whole list, and he said some things that he thought were the correct answer. Like he's like, oh, I should do these ones. And I was like, what do you care about though? And he said, I don't feel like I have the right to do this. I don't feel like I'm good enough to do this. I don't feel like I'm enough along my journey to do this, but I think I've always wanted to do what you do, Andy. And I was like, mate, then we do that. And he was like, yeah, but, all these limiting beliefs. And I got him to start that, and he was so humble at the start. I got him to just write articles, and, at the start, he's like, these suck. And it's like, yeah, they kind of do. But, like, my articles sucked at the start. And over time, he got pretty good at them. I think at this point, he's on, like, week 8 of his coaching with me. And he's written like 50 articles or something insane. He's posted a bunch on Reddit. He has worked with like 6 clients, I think it's about 6, one of whom paid him $150 for a call. And so this is if you want to be a coach, this is probably the process. Start by just helping people for free. Like, start by helping your friends and family for free, and then go on to Reddit and other places like that. Don't spam, but just help people. And if they DM you and say, hey man, you really helped me, you say, hey, if you want to do a free coaching call with me, like I'm happy to do that, and do a couple of those. And then after a while, you start saying to people, hey, going forward, any calls that we do, just pay me whatever you think they're worth. Even if you think that's just $1, just pay me that. Just pay me after each call. And so he did that. And yeah, the first person was like, hey, I think this was worth $150. And he was like basically crying. He's like, holy shit, like someone paid me $150. Like that's insane. I thought they weren't going to pay me anything ever for the first like couple of years. So yeah, it's really fun to work on people with that, especially because it took us 2 years to get to a point where we earned even $1. Not that that was the goal at the start, but yeah. I didn't think I'd ever earn $1. And to just watch one of my coaching clients go like, hey, it's like week 3 and I've earned $150. And I'm like, man, that took me like 2.5 years.
Yeah, because I remember you know, at the start you charged $20 and then $30 and then $50. Like it wasn't just like, it was such a slow
I kept raising it by $5 each time,
keeping
remember?
in time that every mind, like somebody was paying that and then you jump to the next amount. It's cool to see. And I know this is something you've said quite a few times, that it's amazing how much they can, like, you give your clients the opportunity to like leapfrog past,
To skip, yeah.
yeah, the same hurdles or challenges that you faced, and like they don't have to go through any of the things that you did, because you can give them the knowledge and the things that you've learned.
Number 20. Grateful a couple of my clients have asked me for coaching on the spiritual and peace side of things. That comes up a lot now.
Just because you're talking about
I
it.
wrote a couple,
obviously.
but I'd probably change that to like a lot. Like at this point, it's been like, I don't know, 15 people. Like that just comes up like almost all the time. It's actually the thing that most of my clients either ask me for or I give to them at this point. Like it's just, because I feel like it's the most useful. Like again with this graph, and it's not about spirituality or God or any of that. You know, I don't necessarily have any hard beliefs on spirituality or God or any of that shit. Like it's none of that. I'm talking about like this list here on the screen. It's like trying to get people up above courage, up to the higher levels of, you know, peace and doing things for the love of it. And, you know, those higher levels, the higher we get them, the more productive they are, like, and the happier they are, obviously. Yeah, I feel like we could end here and then continue the rest. We have a lot more to do. There's like, I don't know if we'll do all of them, but I feel like this has been at least a useful discussion so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's value that's been offered. It's not just listing the things that we've done this year.
Yeah, that's what we tried to do last year. But last year, like, lots of people didn't listen to it.
Correct. I wonder how much of that was also because of when it was shared, now that you've made the observation that basically no one in the Christmas, New Year period.
Oh, yeah. Most people don't do self-improvement stuff over January or the start of January and December. So we'll finish there. We will keep going with the rest of the list, I think, in subsequent videos. But yeah, coaching is available. I am on Twitter as well. I've mentioned that quite a few times, posting a lot of self-improvement content, keeping it all super positive. So go follow me over there. Check out the podcast where we have much more content. And I would like a new intro or a new outro rather than saying crush your goals, but I'm not sure what to put.
Maybe in the comments, leave suggestions for intros and outros.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Please leave a comment. Smash that like button, guys, and just hit that subscribe button and really
Don't forget to ring the bell.
Don't forget to ring that bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and bing, 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 and, you know, fucking just do all the stuff that I want you to do as a YouTuber.
Please, thank you.
It is adorable that like every YouTuber or a lot of YouTubers do that. It kind of it's like a meme. I don't know if they actually mean it. It's a meme at this point. Ring that bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling.
I don't know.
Smash that like
Maybe
button.
it makes a difference.
Destroy that fucking...
We don't know.
Break the UI. Literally break the website.